Okay, we are anti-fascists from the Ruhr Valley, an old industrial area in North Rhine-Westphalia, Germany. We live in Bochum, a city in the west, the far west as we call it. Well, last December 2008 we created a piece of graffiti on a Bochum wall that we've got something more to tell you about. Since years we follow the news that the number of fascist and racist murders is rising and rising, not only in Germany but also in other European countries. Migrants, Jews, gays and lesbians, homeless people, alternative young people, union members, and of course, anti-fascists are the target of the big and the small Nazi mob. Long ago, the civil press, and what you call the everyman, has come to terms with the fact their naughty sons and daughters go out and murder others who do not fit in their picture. The civil press and the everyman have come to terms with this especially because these people are not in line with their view of the world either, with the worldview of the civil mainstream. We are active anti-fascists. We notice that besides migrants and marginal groups, we are also more and more becoming the focus of the Nazi hate and civil mainstream equally. Anti-racists and anti-fascists are the ones that over and over again admonish, criticize and oppose fascism, racism and civil indifference. And that is why this sober society let us pay a heavy price. Press defaming, democratic representative infamizing, police assaulting, justice pursuing and Nazis attacking, being trivialized from every corner. In recent years, more and more anti-fascist juveniles become victims of fascist attacks all over Europe. They all had in common that, like us, they are part of a paradox juvenile culture. They neither were able to, nor did they want to come to an arrangement with the capitalistic circumstances of the racism or with the emergence of fascist groups and parties. Despite of all cultural, linguistic and other indifferences, they were like us. Every single one was uno di noi, one of us. And that is why we created this graffiti, to remind us of them and you of them. We believe they dreamt of a better world, and that they, with all the human mistakes and errors, stood up for it, that they fought for their dreams. They live on because of our efforts and fights for a better world without exploitation and suppression. Dreams connect the past with the present and show the way into the future. Dreams are fantastically transboundary, irritatingly irrational, disturbingly confrontative, amusingly clarifying, deeply immoral desirous, simply subversively. Only with the help of past experiences resulting from debates and conflicts, our fight of today will turn into future victories. Nobody and nothing will be forgotten. This is the reason of our motto of the graffiti. They live on in our dreams and fights.
Carne, stracci, carta, fogli, unghie, memorie, bruciati in fretta come nella camera di scoppio di un motore, sulla forca o con le fucilate, con la carrozza o con la sedia elettrica. I vivi non ricordano lo sguardo, i vivi non ricordano lo sguardo di
Nicola Sacco,
morto invano,
Bartolomeo Vanzetti,
morto invano,
Giacomo Matteotti,
morto invano,
Giuseppe Pinelli,
morto invano, e più neri di prima sono ritornati, lo stesso cognome, Mussolini. Usano un televisore come un cavallo di Troia, entrano nel futuro dei nostri figli, così come c'entrarono nel 920 per ricordarci che un giorno
a Brescia
sono morti invano,
a Ustica sono
morti invano,
a Bologna
sono morti invano,
a Marzabotto
sono morti invano. Perché i vivi non ricordano, si è ammutolito il mio strumento quando ha capito che il popolo italiano di mare, di cielo e terra deve saperlo che ci portano alla guerra. Guarda nei libri, devi ricordarlo, ogni quanto tempo in Europa c'è un conflitto dove madri, padri, figli e figli sono morti da dimenticare. Perché i vivi non ricordano, perché i vivi non ricordano gli occhi dei
Fratelli Cervi,
morti invano,
Lauro Farioli,
morto invano,
Marino Serri,
morto invano,
Giovanni Ardizzoni,
morto invano.
Jan Kusera, you can see him on the far left, was an anti-fascist from Bibam near Prague. Jan was murdered by Nazis on 18th of January 2007. Jan was a member of the skinheads against racial prejudice, the Sharpskins. On the night of his assassination, he was sitting together with friends and comrades in a pub when the Nazis provoked them. This ended in a conflict in which the Nazis chased the antifas down the road. Jan and his friend escaped from the Nazis into a stairway. The Nazis followed. One of them ambushed Jan one floor below with a knife and stabbed him. Jan died that night. He was only 18. The murder unleashed demonstrations of solidarity and grief all over Europe. One took place in Essen, our neighboring town.
Franco Serantini,
Claudio Miccoli,
Sotiris Petrula,
Right next to Jan, there is Fyodor Filatov. He was stabbed on the 10th of October 2008 by 4 unknown perpetrators while leaving his Muscovite apartment. Highly likely the offenders were Nazis. The 27-year-old Fyodor played a vital role building up anti-fascist and anti-racist structures in the Muscovite skinhead scene. He belonged to the Trojan skins, convinced anti-fascists, which made them the target of fascist threat. Shortly before he was killed, he told friends of feeling under surveillance and spied out. Russia is the country with the most racist and Nazi murders. In 2006, there were 62 Nazi murders counted. In 2007, even 76 murders. Until March 2008, already 49 murders are assumed. This terror aims at migrants, left-wingers, anti-fascists, but is also directed against totally non-political citizens. Finally, January 19, 2009 is the day of the assassinations of the lawyer Stanislav Markelov and the journalist Anastasia Baburova, working for the Novaya Gazeta. Both were anti-fascist, shot on open street. We didn't manage to organize an annunciation for Fyodor. For Anastasia Baburova and Stanislav Markelov, we demonstrated on the 7th of February 2009 in front of the Russian consulate.
Giorgiana Marri.
Giuseppe Palumbo. Grigoris Lambrakis.
Carlos Javier Palomino, the second one from the right. He was a 16-year-old Antifa from Madrid. He also belonged to the left-winged skinheads. On the 11th of November 2007, Carlos wanted to join a demonstration against the deployment of the fascist Democracia Nacional. On his way there, in the subway, a radical right-wing career soldier identified Carlos and his friends as anti-fascists by their buttons. The 26-year-old Nazi unnoticeably pulled out a hunting knife and all of a sudden stabbed Carlos directly into his heart. 3 of Carlos' friends were injured severely. Carlos died shortly after the attack. When the Antifas got the news of Carlos' death, they tried vehemently to stop the deployment of the Nazis. Yet, the police prevented them from doing so with rubber bullets. The press prevaricated and downplayed Carlos' murder. In Germany, the Spiegel blamed the anti-fascist juvenile partially as well. They also increased his age from teenager to young adult. 1 week after the murder, we organized a demonstration in memory of Carlos.
Torino Carnevale. Gaetano Brescia. Walter Rossi.
Right in the middle you can see Davide Cesare, called Dax. Davide lived in Milano and belonged to the milieu of the occupiers of the Orso. Orso means bear in Italian. The Orso is an old building occupied by left-wing skin, punks and football fans. In March 2003, Davide collided with one of the Italian fascists from this district. They screamed at each other. A few nights later, on the 16th of March, this fascist with his sons ambushed Davide. Dax was out for a pizza and a couple of friends on the way to the park when these 3 fascists chased them and stabbed them with knives over and over again. Then they fled. Maybe Dax would have survived the attack if the Carabinieri wouldn't have delayed his transport to the hospital. Right then, the people from the pub and the residents demonstrated severely against the Carabinieri behavior. When Dax's friends came to the hospital of San Paolo di Milano, they were told Dax had died and another friend was undergoing an emergency operation. The outrage and upset due to the behavior of the police was enormous. The police answer to the protest was brutally beating up Dax's friends in and in front of the hospital. The police used baseball bats and chased the people also into the hospital stations where they tried to hide. Some residents took these shots you are watching right now from their apartments, following the whole scene. Dax died at the age of 26 leaving a daughter behind. On May 7, 2009, two of Doug's friends who had been beaten up in front of the hospital were convicted to 20 months of jail and a fine of 130,000 euros to the police. The policemen were found not guilty.
Emiliano Zapata.
As the name reveals, Renato Biagietti was from Italy as well. He was murdered on the 28th of August 2006 in Fosena, a suburb of Rome. On this particular night, he was leaving disco near the beach together with his girlfriend and a mutual friend. A reggae dance hall had taken place there. Renato loved reggae and was a passionate disc jockey for electronic music. This beach disco has the reputation of being the only place in this predominantly right-wing suburb that left-wingers go to as well. Approaching their car, two young fascists drove by, insulted them, got out of the car and attacked Renato and his friends with knives. Renato died at the age of 26. Until this day, part of the media and institution neglect the Nazi background of this action, even though the murderer had a tattoo on his arm displaying a fascist Celtic cross with the parole, power and honor. Renato's friends prosecute actively the clarification as well as the remembrance process. They commemorate Renato with his alias Renoir. They also established a recording studio carrying his alias Renoir in the social center Acrobax in Rome, supporting newcomer bands. Doing so, they carry on with Renoir's artistic and musical passion, and at the same time they will always remember him, promoting young artists. In our graffiti, we also use Renato's symbol, Renoir. The picture at the edge shows a Russian musician, Timur Kakharava. Nazis stabbed him at the 13th of November 2005 in Moscow. He studied philosophy in St. Petersburg, played in two left-wing bands, took part in politically driven actions, and was an active anti-fascist. This day he took part in an event of the socially engaged group Food Not Bombs. Food Not Bombs distributes food for free to homeless people. Shortly after the event, the group went to a pub close to the plaza. Timo and a friend just went outside of the pub to have a smoke. In this moment, 10 to 12 Nazi skins attacked them with knives. The attackers must have spied them out. His friend, Maxim Skivai, was severely injured. Timo was stabbed 5 times directly in the throat and died directly at the place of the assault. Timo only got 20 years old.
Ernesto Che Guevara. Gennarino Capuzzo.
On the far left, you can see Thomas Schulz. We put him there on purpose, for him to be seen from the street. Thomas, or as he was called Schmuddel, was a punk from our neighboring town Dortmund. He's the oldest of the ones we portrayed here. He was 31 years old when he was cowardly stabbed by a 17-year-old Nazi skin. On the 28th of March 2005, Thomas and his punk friends were on the way to a concert. In the subway station, Kampstraße, they came across the Nazi skin Sven Kalin and his girlfriend on the escalator. They had a verbal exchange. When the Nazi asked them to take him on, it was Thomas only who followed the Nazi and confronted him with his Nazi attitude. What Thomas did not notice, as he was drunk, was that Sven Kalin had already pulled out his 15-centimeter long knife and was hiding it. When the subway came, Kalin did not just turn around and entered the subway to go home. No, he stabbed the knife directly into Thomas' chest up to the hilt. Very pointedly, Thomas' heart was pierced. Thomas left 2 children.
Fast gelang es vergessen, doch bei so manchen Verbrechen weiß ich genau, es kann eigentlich jeden anderen treffen. Ich fange an am besten zu erzählen über diesen einen Abend auf dem Weg zu einem Konzert. Es sollte nunmehr keinen schaden, doch ich muss leider sagen, was in etwa so passierte, bevor Schmuddel starb, weil das Messer ihn berührte. Deshalb führt mich die Geschichte zu paar Punk an einer Rolltreppe. Ein Arzt rief, sie sollen kommen, wenn sie was gewollt hätten. Ja, es entstand ein Wortgefecht, doch nichts macht diesen Mord gerecht. Dass er so jung gestorben ist, er lebt den nächsten Morgen nicht und Schmuddel geht den Weg entlang. Er denkt, er nimmt keine Gefahren hin, doch kurz danach sieht man, wie er zu Boden in der U-Bahn sinkt. Es war Mord und kein Totschlag, das war den meisten schon klar. Da half auch kein Notarzt, weil er im selben Abend tot war. Kali, Teil der Szene, ein staatlich geregeltes Fazit. Er kommt milde davon, Dortmund streicht jetzt hoch für jeden Nazi.
Die Presse hat es mit offenen Augen nicht gesehen, konnten nicht glauben, dass ein rechter Mord ist geschehen. Dortmund kann sich nicht erlauben, so gibt's kein Nazi-Problem. Den ganzen Blinden und den Tauben wäre das auch zu unbequem. So sind wir mit diesem Track dabei, Schmuddel zu gedenken. Es ist uns nicht einerlei, wenn sie sein Gedächtnis kränken. Die CDU verweigert sich, einen Stolperstein zu setzen. Das wären Wortwörts auch für linke Chaoten, so sie hetzen. Und für Nazis ebenso, die würden sich dann fetzen. Ich weiß, was CDUler schätzen, woran sie sich ergötzen. Die Mitte heute ganz sind schwarz, die sich nicht widersetzen. So fällt es leider schwer, Nazi-Strukturen zu zerfetzen. Ich weiß, dass ihr alle Angst habt, ihr tut nicht einen Handschlag. Viele linke Splittergruppen nehmen euch den Kampf ab, doch ihr es nicht erkannt habt, denn ihr geht so auf euer Land ab, so wie ich auf einen fetten Beat. Ihr seid so krampfhaft.
Until today, the city of Dortmund refused to install a memorial plaque for Thomas Schulz. The CDU, Christ Democratic Union, does not want a place of pilgrimage for left and right extremists at the Kampfstraße. Shame on you. The Nazi scene has celebrated Thomas' murder as heroic action. The famous Nazi, Siegfried Borchardt, has published a text with the heading, "No Tears for Punks." And other Nazi put up posters with paroles like, "Who is in the way of the movement has to live with the consequences." To all of them, nothing is forgotten and nothing is forgiven.